Okay, let's dive right into this. We're talking about Antarctica today, a place that honestly feels way more like an alien planet than a piece of our own Earth. Welcome to this explainer. We're going to unpack some of the most mind-bending, absolute wild discoveries researchers have literally pulled right out of the ice. We often think we've got our planet figured out, right? But the southernmost tip of our globe is hiding secrets that completely defy biology, geology, and basically our whole understanding of history. So think about this for a second. What if an alien world exists right here on Earth, just sitting there, buried beneath 5 kilometers of ice? Now look, I know the internet is absolutely flooded with wild theories about extraterrestrials ruling from some underground frozen bunker. But we don't even need science fiction here. The actual, tangible evidence researchers are digging up is leaving even the most skeptical scientists totally stunned. The reality down there, it's plenty strange all on its own. To really wrap our heads around these mysteries, we first have to understand just how incredibly hostile this environment is. Minus 90 degrees Celsius. Let that sink in. During the absolute depths of the Antarctic winter, temperatures plummet to this lethal, just bone-shattering low. It's a landscape that actively, aggressively rejects human survival. Just consider the physical reality of this massive, deep freeze. We're talking about a sprawling wilderness of over 15 million square kilometers. To put that into perspective, that is significantly larger than the entire United States, covered in ice that plunges down 5 solid kilometers. And yet, beneath all that crushing weight, scientists have found over 400 subglacial lakes. It's this massive, kind of lawless frontier, right? No official time zones, no ruling countries, and, fun fact, exactly 2 ATM machines on the entire continent. It is entirely inhospitable to us today. But under that ice, well, there's evidence of a drastically different past. We have really only just started peeling back the layers of this frozen history, and man, the timeline of biological anomalies we're finding is just staggering. Take 1986, for example. Archaeologists discovered the remains of dinosaurs, mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, measuring up to 36 feet long. That's roughly the size of a 3-story building. Then, fast forward to 2009, and they unearth a 25-million-year-old skeleton of an egg-laying cat. I mean, what? And then, by 2014, the discoveries took a deeply human and, frankly, deeply bizarre turn when they unearthed these unprecedented, wildly elongated human skulls. Finding those massive dinosaur bones provides a huge, undeniable reality check for us. It means that roughly 7 million years ago, this freezing, punishing wasteland was actually a lush, green, thriving ecosystem. It was totally capable of sustaining massive, cold-blooded life forms. The thick ice sheet we know today simply wasn't there. It is just incredible to visualize a warm, vibrant Antarctica standing exactly where a frozen desert is right now. But let's zoom in on that 2014 discovery of the human remains, because this is where things get really weird. The skulls found in the ice featured craniums that were stretched drastically backward and outward. This is a stark, obvious departure from standard human skeletal structure. Now, sure, cranial modifications were sometimes the result of intentional binding during childhood in other cultures, but the burning question here is, what on earth was a human civilization doing modifying skulls in the freezing Antarctic? And that sparks a pretty incredible theory. Could these skulls actually link an ancient Antarctic population to Egyptian and Peruvian civilizations? See, strikingly similar cranial modifications were practiced thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt and Peru. Because of this, some researchers theorize there might be a lost interconnected civilization that's just buried under the snow. Now, obviously, we are just looking at the source material here to explain the theories, not taking sides, but it certainly paints an unbelievable picture of ancient global travel that modern history might have totally forgotten. So, if ancient societies did somehow manage to live there, they would have had to deal with spots like the dry valleys. This area is officially known as the driest place on Earth. Get this, there has been literally zero rainfall here for the last 2 million years. 2 million! The culprit? These devastating, relentless winds that whip through the valleys at 320 kilometers per hour. They instantly evaporate any tiny droplet of moisture. It's a place so extreme, so completely devoid of water, that it mirrors the surface of another planet. In fact, parts of Antarctica aren't just like another planet. They effectively are an alien planet right here on Earth. The atmospheric conditions in the dry valleys are so remarkably similar to the harsh environment of Mars that NASA actually used this exact spot to test their Viking rover before launching it into space. Seriously, when scientists want to figure out what it's like to work on a dead alien world, they pack their bags and head to Antarctica. And hey, the Martian connection doesn't stop with NASA's rover tests. Over the last 50 years, scientists have scoured this pristine, endless white sheet of Antarctic ice and recovered an absolute goldmine of meteorites. We're talking over 10,000 of them. Because the icy landscape acts like the world's most perfect natural freezer, space rocks that fell hundreds of thousands of years ago are preserved flawlessly. Some of these fragments date back over 700,000 years. But among those 10,000 space rocks, there is one that really stands out. A meteorite recovered back in 2015 was hiding a massive secret. After doing some intense analysis, scientists confirmed that this specific rock actually broke off from Mars. It literally delivered extraterrestrial material right to our planetary freezer. It is completely mind-bending to realize that this ice holds not just Earth's ancient history, but actual physical pieces of our neighboring planets. Now, this alien-like environment also creates natural phenomena that look like something straight out of a horror movie. Let's look at the Taylor Glacier. Discovered in 1911 by a scientist named Griffith Taylor, this site features a truly striking, almost unsettling anomaly known as blood falls. For centuries, anyone looking at this vibrant, dark red liquid just oozing out of the bright white ice genuinely thought the glacier itself was bleeding. Thankfully, modern science eventually solved this visual puzzle for us. Deep beneath the glacier sits a massive, trapped subglacial lake. The water in there is 3 times saltier than normal seawater, which stops it from freezing, and it is heavily concentrated with iron from the bedrock. When this super salty, iron-rich water finally finds a tiny crack and escapes to the surface, it hits the oxygen in the air and immediately oxidizes. It essentially rusts in real time, turning that shocking, deep blood-red color as it falls. But here's the thing. The real mystery isn't the rust. It's what they found living inside that water. Down in that freezing, pitch-black underwater lake beneath the glacier, scientists reasonably assumed life was impossible. I mean, no oxygen, no light. Instead, they discovered 17 distinct types of extremophile bacteria completely thriving down there in the dark, toxic, super salty water. To really capture the magnitude of this, researchers noted, and this is a direct takeaway from the source material, that these are types of bacteria found on planets devoid of oxygen and sunlight. How these microscopic survivors even arrived on Earth, or how they evolved to endure such a brutal isolation, it remains a completely unsolved mystery. We are literally looking at biology that plays by the rules of deep space, hidden right under our own ice. But as wild as microscopic space bacteria are, they completely pale in comparison to our final discovery. Recently, an archaeological team was drilling over 1,000 feet below the surface and made a massive, utterly baffling find. Specifically, 1,100 feet deep in the solid ice, they uncovered an unidentified skeleton measuring a staggering 8 feet long. The details of this creature just straight up defy logic. So we have an 8-foot-long skeletal structure, and it features bones that abnormally protrude from the body in ways we have entirely never seen in modern biology. And the most shocking detail? Despite years of exhaustive experiments, structural comparisons, and cross-referencing every database we have, this horrifying frame yields 0 matches. None. It doesn't match a single known creature in the recorded history of our world. Which leaves us with a lingering, pretty unsettling question. What in the world was this 8-foot creature, and where did it come from? Antarctica isn't just a frozen wasteland, folks. It is a giant vault holding our planet's most extreme history. As we continue to slowly chip away at that 5-kilometer ice sheet, we really have to ask ourselves, what other impossible secrets are just sitting down there waiting to be thought out? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.